Hey, looky.
That'll be enough of that.
My boy, my boy.
On December 21, 1970, rock legend Elvis Aaron Presley flew to Washington, D.C. to meet President Richard Milhous Nixon. This turned out to be one of the most bizarre meetings of the minds that ever took place on American soil. The 1950s era was bebop and doo-wop and considerably more innocent than what would follow in the 1960s. It was rockabilly and didn't espouse any type of political discourse. Rock and roll grew up in the 1960s and reflected the political discourse of that era. Elvis was concerned about the counterculture and what he perceived as the downward spiral of the American way of life. He wanted to become a federal agent at large in some attempt to help the president deal with what he felt was wrong with the youth of that day. This resulted in an impromptu visit to the nation's capital. And the results led to two filmmakers wanting to tell the story of this historic meeting. The first came out in 1997.
President of the United States deserves at least as much respect as a mafioso.
Nixon, at this point, was in a high state of paranoia.
They hate me.
Elvis was so insulated that he never realized his own impact.
God chose me to do something important.
So why was Elvis going to Washington?
I want to be appointed a United States Federal Marshal for Drug Enforcement.
That's what I need to help me change my image with the kids.
Hail, hail, rock and roll.
Rick Peters, Bob Gunton, Elvis Meets Nixon.
You can't make this up.
Elvis Meets Nixon is a 1997 Canadian-American mockumentary film directed by Alan Arkush and starring Rick Peters, Bob Gunton, and Allison Court. It is an embellished account of the true story of American singer Elvis Presley meeting President Richard Nixon on December 21, 1970. The second film came out in 2016. Elvis and Nixon is an American comedy drama film directed by Liza Johnson. The film stars Michael Shannon as singer Elvis Presley and Kevin Spacey as President Richard Nixon and focuses on the December 21, 1970 meeting between the two men at the White House.
Of all the famous images preserved in our national archives, the most requested photo of all time is this one.
You remember when you talked about finding an ally for Nixon?
Someone from the outside.
I need to get this letter to the president.
You'll never guess in a million years who just showed up at the Northwest Gate asking to see him.
It's Elvis.
Elvis Presley. You swear this isn't a joke, because this penmanship is horrible.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So you think we should meet with him?
Yes, Mr. President.
During my nap hour.
Everybody loves Elvis.
Call me.
He could really help us with the youth vote. He would also like a badge.
A what?
I would like to go undercover as a federal agent. I've been in 31 major motion pictures. That makes me an expert in costume and disguise. I could infiltrate the communists, and then I'd bust them all. Let's do this thing.
An undercover rock and roller. Sounds ludicrous.
I can supply my own firearms.
All right, now what do we have on this guy?
Well, he's one of the most famous men on the planet. Loves guns, hates the Beatles.
The Beatles? Well, I don't like them.
Okay, sir, do you have any firearms or weapons of any kind on your person? It's a good thing they didn't catch this little fella in my boot.
Mr. Presley, we're going to have to go over the protocol. Mr. President, Mr. Elvis Presley. On the coffee table is a dish with M&Ms. Those are only for the president.
M&Ms are my favorite.
Mine too.
There is also an unopened bottle of Dr. Pepper.
You have a bottle opener?
Please do not open it. Please do not drink from it because it's only for the president.
What in the good God is going on?
I don't know, sir.
Give a little love. Make sure that we get a picture with Mr. Presley and me.
Go on and do it.
You and me, we rose from nothing. But look where I am today. Look where you are.
Give a little love. Ha!
That's how I learned to develop these knuckles as the claws of a tiger, Mr. President.
The 1997 film is far more in-depth than the 2016 version and includes a mini-documentary that discusses the history of both personalities from their historic rise and fall and subsequent rise again. Both movies are available on YouTube and IMDb. Looking at the actors who played Elvis, they both had a different approach. Shannon was very subdued.
I was telling one of the gals outside, it reminds me of my Graceland.
Oh, it does it?
In fact, he was a little boring. Rick Peters was hamming it up and having fun. He has E's voice and accent down pat. Not one my boy from Michael Shannon.
That's Elvis Presley, man. Elvis Presley.
Can you move, please?
You crazy mother. What the hell he be doing in here?
Buying donuts. That's what he be doing in here.
It's you, man. Elvis Presley.
You got me confused, son.
No, I know that voice. Hey, listen up. The king is here. Oh, you're Elvis, man. Look at all those diamond rings. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I am on keeping them, too.
In my opinion, Peters was the better Elvis. He looked more like the king and was clearly having fun with the role. To me, Shannon was not giving it his best and seemed tired. Scenes that should have been laugh out loud in Elvis and Nixon did not come across anywhere near as funny as in Elvis Meets Nixon. Here the point goes to Elvis Meets Nixon. Now let's examine the actors who played Nixon. Bob Gunton tries, in fact he tries too hard to emulate the former president. He comes across as more like imitating the 37th president. Gunton tries his best, but comes across as almost a parody of the former president.
That's what I need to help me change my image with the kids.
Hail, hail, rock and roll.
Point goes to Elvis and Nixon. This leads me to the third category. The directors. Alan Arkush has more impressive credits to his name than Liza Johnson. Films like Hollywood Boulevard, Grand Theft Auto and Death Sport. While Johnson's biggest claim to fame is Hate Ship, Love Ship. Point goes to Elvis Meets Nixon. Now we come to the Memphis Mafia. Elvis' longtime friends and bodyguards get the treatment in both films, and I found this one hard to judge. Both casts of supporting actors do a great job of portraying what it must have been like to live in the shadow of Elvis Presley.
You making a list and checking it twice, man?
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Garnering a feel for the era of the 1970s. In Elvis and Nixon we kind of go through the motions and, other than the way people dress, it could have taken place at any time. But in Elvis Meets Nixon we get a distinctive feel for the era that it's set in. Plus it fleshes out the character of Elvis in a strong way. For example, there's one scene that takes place in a record shop where Elvis comes to grips with the fact that he's a cultural dinosaur and his music doesn't reach the youth market the way that it used to. It's a powerful scene that shows us how people were in 1970, as well as having Elvis come to the realization that he isn't revered the same way that he used to be.
Oh my God. You're the king! Hey now, whoa, there's only one king. That's Jesus Christ. Now I'm just a singer.
Elvis Presley, I don't believe this. I mean, this is out of sight, man. Whoa, this is trippy, but yeah, this is a record store.
Hey, what's that smell, man? Is that pot?
Pot? No, that's incense.
Incense? What's that, supposed to make the record smell better? Man, this place is spooky.
Well, hey, is there anything I can help you with?
Woodstock. 500 million naked people rolling in mud, high on drugs. Someone explain that to me.
Yeah, peace, love, 250,000 naked chicks. So Elvis, how come you're wearing a cross and a Star David?
Well, I don't want to miss out on heaven on a kind of a technicality.
Man, I can't believe the Beatles won't get back together. It's not gonna happen, man. John says it right here. The dream is over.
Hey, excuse me. What kind of pipe is this?
That's a magic pipe.
You got a comedian here. And what's that you're smoking, man? Pot? Oh, hey, honey. Don't you know drugs like that'll kill your brain cells?
Who are you supposed to be? Batman?
That's your brain, baby. Hey, listen, man. I don't see the new Elvis album here. That's the way it is?
Oh, it's the way it is.
I'm playing Abbott and Costello with a pothead here, man. No, that's the name of the album. That's the way it is.
Hey, if it's here, man, Elvis is in the back, you know? In the oldies section.
The oldies section?
Yeah, man, in the back, you know, with Pat Boone and Bobby Rydell and Fabian.
Well, they're not putting out new records.
Hey, man, maybe you don't realize who you're talking to.
Hey, man, I don't know anyone who buys Elvis albums, all right? Do you? Or maybe some rednecks.
Point goes to the winner, Elvis Meets Nixon. And that's our look at two films that look at the same incident from 51 years ago. What did you think? Do you like Michael Shannon or Rick Peters better as Elvis? Which film was better, Elvis and Nixon or Elvis Meets Nixon? Who was the better Richard Nixon, Kevin Spacey or Bob Gunton? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. While you're at it, I'd appreciate a thumbs up if you like the show, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel to keep up on pop culture and comic books. Until next time, you've got to follow that dream wherever that dream may lead.
I want to remind you that if you love comics and pop culture as much as I do, you'll subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to stay informed of upcoming videos. Please share this video, as that will help me gain subscribers as well. I also want to remind you to check out my columns and reviews on two sites, Comics for Sinners and Comic Crusaders. I also have my own franchises, Adolescent Radioactive Samurai Platypi and Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter. The latter has been picked up by Cutthroat Comics. Check the links below for more details and the link to Dracula Rising, which is available on Amazon. Here's some great artwork from Raphael Lanohaus from the origin story Foul Blood. Once again, available on Cutthroat Comics. See the links below. I also have a book which is a collection of my reviews and columns called Comics, Pop Culture, and Politics. You can also find t-shirts and posters on Teespring. Again, check the links below for all Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter merchandise.